All right. So I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you've already watched the video for 1101 that I posted today. If you haven't, I would actually start there. Obviously, these classes are connected. This class is a support class for our 1101. As such, I'm gonna treat this video like you've watched the first one. What I mean by that is this one will be a good bit shorter. Um, so again, one last time, if you haven't watched the one for 1101 first, I would do that. Anyway, what we have here, this is our course, our support course for 1101. It's called 0999. That doesn't really matter, but again, I like to put that up front on the very first day. And the off chance you're here and you shouldn't be, like that's not on your schedule for some reason, go away. I don't know. Anyway, all right, so here we are. To begin with, as always, our syllabus. It is very, very similar to our syllabus for 1101. First of all, because it's the same teacher, and secondly, because it's connected to that class. So why would they be super different? Anyway, a lot of the same verbiage. Obviously, contact information is the same. We have no other materials for this course. Just what you need for 1101, just that Netflix account. Outcomes are a bit different, but again, the whole gist of this class is two things really. One, to the best of your ability, especially because it's all online, you want to stay connected to the class, and another way to put that is you want to keep participating, even if it's only once or twice a week that you're checking in, you're turning in stuff, you're looking at some of what your classmates have to say. If you stay engaged, you have a much, much better chance of doing well in the class. Uh, Time and time again, the people I see who struggle and or just outright disappear by the end of the semester, those are the people who, you know, won't turn in an assignment or whatever. They'll just kind of disappear for a week, uh, and then that just is the last I ever see of him, right? Even if you miss an assignment or two, I promise you that's not the end of the world. The key is to get back into things, jump back into the course, sort of get caught up where you can, or just like look at what other people are posting, so you have a better idea of what it is we're talking about. You kind of get back in that swing and go from there. Um, of course, you can avoid all that by just again staying engaged as we go, but I say all that to say that's what this class is about, giving you these discussion posts every week, journals, which we'll talk about in a second, um, but just giving you a couple more opportunities to talk to each other, talk to me, and be involved. That tends to students who are involved, that tends to be the ones who do well. Anyway, grading is the same. Again, it's the same you've had your entire life. All right, here's our assignments. So this class, the way it works, it's slimmer than the 1101 because again, it's meant to just be a support for that, right? Um, we have journals, we have participation, and we have quote unquote online responses. I'm gonna walk you through these in a little more detail when we look at CourseDin here in a second, but it's listed here with descriptions of those assignments as well as the weights for those assignments for this class. Of course, just like in 1101, we have a schedule here broken down. Um, Given the, as I put it a second ago, slimmer nature of this class, I kind of just have everything broken down by weeks. So week one, um, your assignments here are due by the 14th. I think by midnight. No. Okay, sorry. Your discussions will still be due by 10 a.m. 10 a.m. just like 1101. And that's most of what you do in this class. You'll see though every 3 weeks. I like to keep it regular so you can keep track. Every 3 weeks you'll have a journal checkpoint. That will also be due on Friday, but that'll be due at midnight. I'm trying to break those up a little bit for you guys. So say you get your journal, if you're the type to wait till the last minute, and I know most of us are, if you get your discussion board and all that stuff turned in, your responses turned in by this Friday, 10 a.m., and you're like, oh, Jesus, it's a journal checkpoint week. Well, you still have until midnight that night to get that sorted. And again, that's going to be every 3 weeks for the journal, and you'll see it crop up as we go. Every week we have an essay due, which we have 3 due in 1101, right? I'm not going to ask you to do a lot of extra work with like discussion posts or anything like that. So you'll see this crop up every time we have an essay due, that we have an optional discussion board where basically if you still have some questions, or if you think you know what's going on but you're not quite sure, right? Obviously you can always email me or get in touch with me somehow. We can talk about it, but you'd be surprised sometimes asking these things publicly. Um, I'll still respond to it as well, but your classmates might see it. They might have thoughts on it. To be totally honest with you, half the time I get an email from one of you, I'll get 4 or 5 just like it from your classmates that have similar questions. So what I'm saying is sometimes you guys will even help each other. Um, or best case scenario, somebody will ask a question and one of your classmates will see it and then just sort of realize that that's a question they had and they didn't even know it, right? Like, so I'm kind of saying, again, you can always hit me up. That's part of my job, right? I don't mind that at all. But if you can ask those things publicly as well, it's oftentimes a benefit to your classmates. So it's just a nice thing to do. Anyway, that's the gist of the schedule for this class. It really, like I said, I keep it as regular as possible, so you can once you get into the swing of things, a couple weeks in, I think you'll it's pretty memorable. I guess I'll put it that way. It's pretty easy to keep track of this one. Um, to explain the assignments just a bit further, I did promise this video will be shorter. Let's go to content. So I've organized it along the exact same lines as our 1101. Again, it's attached to that class, so I want it to be like, I want it to be almost like you could have our 1101 up in another tab, and you could just go back and forth, and they would mirror each other. Okay, so there's a video section in each unit. We have 4 units, which correspond to our 4 units from 1101, right? So when we're working on the first paper, that's all these assignments. When we're working on the second paper, third, you get it. Um, this video, once I'm able to post it, will show up right here, as will subsequent videos. Our first assignment, which will be due the 14th, which is this Friday, 10 a.m. It's a check-in, right? It's just, I know it looks long. Don't get freaked out. Most of this is just instructions on how to actually post to a discussion board. In the off chance you can't figure that out, since it is our first one. Um, but then just, in this very first one, because we haven't really had much class yet, talk to me about your writing. How do you feel about it? Do you feel super confident? Do you feel super less than confident? And then, of course, why is that? Again, these discussion posts are public to everybody else in the class, so it's a space where you can talk a little bit about yourself as a writer, but also you can see what other people are thinking and feeling. You guys can respond to each other, because I want you to respond each week. Um, well, I guess you don't have to here, but you take my point. Like, especially in this first one, if you feel like you struggle with X and Y and you see somebody else that feels the same way, maybe you guys, I don't know, connect for a minute. Be like, hey man, I feel like I suck too. Let's get through this together. Like, that's really what the first week is about. As we get deeper into the class, so you see in the very next week, we're actually going to start a little bit of analysis practice, things like this. Um, again, it goes like that through the whole semester. It's going to, I've done my best to try to give you guys discussion assignments that will in some way, shape, or form, mirror not just what we're talking about in class, but also provide you with a little bit more practice, um, to sort of make sure you're up to speed when it comes to getting those essays turned in. And I wanted to scroll a little bit. Okay, so this will be the third week. You still have a discussion board due, right? Assignment due for that third week. But below that, there's going to be a thread in every unit where it's not due, it's optional. But if you just have like big questions about the class or about assignments, anything, any questions at all that you feel apply to the class in some kind of a way, again, as always, you can just email me, but you can also post them here, which of course I will see them and I will respond to them. But there's a chance a classmate would respond, or there's a chance a classmate would agree and say, "Oh God, I didn't even realize, that's a question I had." Right? So this is here for us. But the thing I wanted to point your attention to Week 3, this is our first journal checkpoint. It'll be every 3 weeks, as I said. This will be due the 28th at midnight. All the journal is, and there's a couple explanations of it on the syllabus, but all it really is me checking your notes. And what I mean by that is you want to be taking notes. This can be in a couple different ways. First of all, I should say, um, I know some people still take handwritten notes. I, for one, uh, take handwritten notes. I know a lot of people type their notes. That's cool if that's what you do. It's 2022. Um, but personally, I take handwritten notes. If you're the type to do that, I can accept those here for the journal. You'd have to take pictures of them. You want to make sure they're kind of clear because I want to be able to read them, right? I don't want it. You guys get so crazy with assignments. I really don't want anybody trying to scam me on the journals, Like just send me your notes. Don't be weird. Um, if you type them up, if you're the sort to do that, I would recommend like a Google Doc or something that you can just have for the whole semester, right? And you just update it as you go. You download it as a PDF or something, upload it here. Um, but anyway, you want to be taking notes as you go. If you do that, this assignment will be super easy. It'll just roll around every 3 weeks. You'll be like, oh, here's a couple pages of notes I got or whatever. I'll turn that in. There you go. Um, you can take some notes. I would recommend to the videos that I post because we're going to be talking about our class texts. We're going to be talking about our class assignments. Um, Notes would benefit you there, not only for the journal, but also for understanding what it is I'm asking you to do, right? But again, that's going to make stuff like this cake. Like it'll be super easy. It'll just be, oh yeah, I got my notes. Here you go. That's what that's about. The aforementioned essay week posts, again, we have a discussion post here. It is due, but these are optional. These are, oh man, essays due this week. What about this? Or, hey, do we have to do this? Is it supposed to be this way? Questions like that. This is a space we can have that public conversation if you want. Which again, I know I've said this several times, but I like to reiterate it. It really does help your classmates. 90% of the time, if you have a question for me about a particular essay or a particular assignment, at least one other person in the class is going to have that question too. And half the time they don't even realize it until you ask it. So it's very much a benefit to have those conversations publicly. It helps everybody. Um, and that's the class. It's going to look just like that in all these other units as we go. Again, I'm going to update it as we go. There will be more videos, all that. I will notify you guys every time I post a video. Some of you will get tired of that, but I do need to kind of let you know. So it's just going to be in your Weska waiting on you, that little notification. Other than that, as I said in the previous video, hope everyone is well. And yeah, I look forward to the semester. Appreciate it.